Okay. 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 Okay, okay. Can you see me? Wait, no, you can't see me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Hi. Hi, guys. Hi, GTKs. Hi, Cheddar. How are you doing? Who redeemed first? Oh, hi, Cheddar. Thank you for redeeming first. That's pretty epic of you. I was really confused because I press start streaming and then I suddenly needed to go to the toilet. And when I came back from the toilet, it said I was still streaming, but I was confused. So I was a bit confused. So definitely it's all in the dream. Olby has been trying to help me sort out the router stuff because it arrived like not long ago. Like right in the evening, so we didn't have long to set it up, so we're trying our best. And hello, how you doing? We're having a super cheesy day. It's good to see you. Good to see you, good to hear me, good to smell me, good to eat you. Okay. We are going to be playing a game I haven't played in a really, really long time. It's been like around 3 years since I've last played this game on stream. And I'm really, really excited because I've just been thinking about it a lot. And I re-downloaded it the other day and I've just been eager to play it. It's Detroit Become Human. It's like a really, it's really cool story kind of based game, but I really like it. I think it's really fun, really cute. It's a little bit, actually, yeah, it's quite a bit different than a lot of other games I have played before on stream. It's not scary though. I mean, I don't think it's scary. It's not a scary game. So you don't need to be worried about that. But yeah. Yeah, I'm going to quickly gaming right now. Yeah. There we go. I'm just trying to update my stuff. I was kind of rushing a little bit before I started stream, so we are a little bit all over, but when aren't we? Let's be honest. When aren't we all over the place? Ooh. There we go. A tiny bit cheesy today, but I'm very excited to remember a sad game moment. Wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm holiday a month booked, so that balances out. Oh, nice. Oh, are you going anywhere nice? I had cheese today. I had cheesy garlic bread. It was so good. I really, really liked it. It was nice. It was super good. So I should be definitely cheesy today. Let's actually find out. How cheesy am I? 78! That's not real. I do not believe that. I think that's a bit of a lie. 1 to 17, just cheesy on the beat? Crazy. Another game, Heavy Rain, from the same developer. I don't know that game, unfortunately, but I know this game. So that's all I can tell you about this. I don't really know developers, so I can't really say. Oh, seaside visit, live in mainland means you don't go often. Well, still, that's exciting. I think that's exciting. So I hope you have lots of fun. I love the seaside. It's one of my favorite places. Easy cleared, congratulations. 725. Oh my gosh, I'm just not cheesy, even though I've eaten cheese, so I feel like that's a lie. This game is great, right? I love this game. Have you played today? Obviously not today. Have you played this game before, Crow? Also, it's good to see you, Crow. It's been a minute. How's life? Hope life is treating you super duper cheesily. I'm so excited. So excited. The last time I played, I got a really sad ending. The last time I played, and thank you for the cheese, Muto. Thank you for doing well. How are you doing? Hope you're having a super duper cheesy day. So I'm hoping I don't get a sad ending this time. But it's really hard because you can never make anybody happy. But yeah. Yeah, we're gonna start a new story. We're gonna be great. Haven't played it, but I watched too many videos. You know what? I feel like you can with this game though, because it's such story based. You can just like watch the videos and stuff. And that's like fine. And hello, Rikuba! Welcome in. Hope you're having a super duper cheesy day. Happy Saturday, guys. Guys, have you had a good weekend? I've had a good weekend. I'm actually quite tired. I had like a 10-minute nap earlier because I was just so tired. It's been busy. How's streaming been? Streaming's been good. I feel like I've been having a lot of fun lately. Thank you for asking. Thank you. And I hope life's treating you well, you know. I know life can be busy, and yeah, just life. But I'm feeling quite optimistic about life. So yeah, live, love, laugh, life. I said life. Oh yeah. Because it's just why you had some dinner. Oh, after a eventful day, but a fun day. Oh, nice. You know what? I like a fun day. A fun day is a good day. I hope you had a super duper yummy dinner. What did you eat? Your sleep schedule getting more consistent and like a freckles game base. So cheesy at least. Oh, nice. That's, you know what? I feel like that's super duper. That's super duper good. That's super duper good. Cheesy cheddar. Cheesy cheddar. Oh my gosh, okay. I feel like I'm trying to like hang on. Let me move that down, and then because it's a lot of like watching and stuff and like being speedy. So I think the last time I played this one, I think I used a controller, I believe. So this is a little bit different. I think. I can't actually remember. Oh, it's been a while. I'm sure I used controller last time. I should have set that up, but I kind of forgot. Oops. Okay, okay, we have to be fast at this part. Sorry, wait, is this part I have to be fast? I can't actually remember. Hello, Tyson. How are you doing? Are you winning cheese? Maybe. And rice. Oh, I had rice for dinner too. No way. Wait, let's go this way first. Oh my gosh. Oh, I think I remember the... Wait, up. How do I take? What does that mean? Up? Interact by using a mouse. What does that mean? Take. I'm trying to take it. Wait, I don't know my controls. Let's find out what my controls are. Because I don't believe I've played this on mouse before. Interact. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. The quiet. There we go. Predator supported cheesiness. I asked my brother to hand me the time travel pamphlet the other day, and he said, "For sure." I love that. That's so funny. Thank you for that. That's beautiful. You're twinning. We're twinning as the riciness. Wait. How do I escape? Why won't it let me go back? Wait. I'm trying to interact. Oh, there we go. Oh, I have to get it at the angle. Ugh. Okay. Cool. Cheese, bitch! Cheese! Say cheese, you cheese for cheese, we do cheese, bitch, cheese, crow cheese. Cheese, house cheese, 2 cheese, cheese, cheesy, cheese. Not cheese, funny cheese. Wait, cheese. What cheese? Do cheese, you cheese, bean cheese. Not cheese. Funny cheese? What cheese? What cheese? How cheese? Ah, cheese. How cheese do I cheese? Put cheese. This cheese. Back cheese. How cheese? Let cheese be cheese. Put cheese. Cheese back cheese. Put cheese. Cheese back. Put cheese back. Cheese. Put. I'm cheese. So cheese. Confused cheese. Let cheese be cheese. Put cheese. Cheese back cheese. Put cheese back cheese. Oh my gosh! Ow! That's so loud. Wait, I can't put it back. I'm pressing the button. Why is it not working? I'm pressing all the mouse buttons. It's not working. Oh no, I think I made my mouse speed slow. Oh no. Oh no, what have I done? What is this? What are you? I don't even know. Ow. Oh my gosh. Wait. Do I need... Wait, maybe it'll be beneficial if I plugged my controller in. Maybe that will help. Give me a second. Oh my gosh. Maybe I can do that. Unless it just doesn't like me. I can't remember. It's been a while. Will it work if I do this? Let me change you to cable. When aren't we scuffed? That is my life. Oh, okay. Controls. What are the controls of the controller? Okay, move. Pause. My palace. Switch camera. Pause. Wait, how do I? Oh, wait, no. Wait, how do I put it back? Parmesan-tastic. I like that one. Oh, that's so much easier with the controller. Oh my gosh, I should have just done that to begin with. I think I had this problem the last time I played this game with using the mouse and keyboard. I think it's just meant to be on a controller. I'm gonna be quick in the area. Some said minutes later she's still staring at the same picture. Well, I can't help it. I can't help it. A Dwarfgorium. Save! Oh, we need to save the fishies. Save the fishies. Oh wait, why is my OBS chat not scrolling? That's not very helpful. The internet decided to get milk for a sec. What did I miss? Just me trying to figure out how to do things. As always. Oh my gosh, okay, sorry chat. Just to let you know, you're not scrolling. So if I miss you guys, it's not me. Wait, it's not. It is. I mean, to be fair, it is me. But it's not actually me. It's not me. It's OBS. Oh, hi. Fish. I like fish. I used to have fish when I was younger. But I bought one fish, and then that fish got like all my other fish poorly because it had like a disease or something, and I got so sad. Fine, the captain, Alan, or I nearly said alien. Captain, let's find you. After there's an emergency and they don't need their negotiator anytime soon. I know, then negotiator would take like 20 minutes because they'll be like, oh, what's this? A fish on the floor. I must save this fish. You're really confused. Don't be confused. Don't be confused. I'm not confused. Okay, show your objectives and interactions. Oh, this shows your objectives and interactions. Okay. Oh, hello. Wait, why are you confused? Confused.com. Okay, are you Captain Allen? Can I look at other things first? Oh, do I have to talk to you? Are you Captain Allen? God, I know I've played this game before, but it's been a long time, so I can't actually remember. I just remember this ending I got, and I got really sad.
It's firing at everything that moves. It already shot down 2 of my men. We could easily get it, but they're on the edge of the balcony. If it falls, she falls.
Wait, who's Brian the mascot? What is their name?
Do you know its name?
Skibbity Toilet.
I haven't got a clue. Does it matter?
I need information to determine the best approach.
Behavior?
Do you know if it's been behaving strangely before this?
Listen, saving that kid is all that matters. So either you deal with this fucking android now, or I'll take care of it.
Oh, probability of success 48%. Okay. Understand what happened or save the hostage. Wait, I want to save. We are saving because we are saving. Locate the hostage. Okay, all this stuff in the room. You gonna work? Gonna finish your dinner? So have fun, Grubber. Have fun being a great negotiator. Thanks, thanks, Cheddar. Have a nice dinner. I'll see you when I see you. Take care. Also, there might be some swearing in this game, but it's okay because it's a story. It's a story. Analyze. Black Hawk. Oh wait, did I not do it? Oh, did I do it? Oh, there we go. It's been a minute. Ammunition. Okay. Reconstruct. These are okay. Party. Why? Deviant took the father's gun. Okay, exit B. %51%. Okay, okay. We are winning. We are winning. The best is negotiators. Cheese is very persuasive. Thank you, thank you. I try my best to be persuasive, even if it's a little silly. Hi, Spectre Hollow. How you doing? It's good to see you. I hope you're having a super busy day. Okay. Where do I want to go? Left or right, guys? We're left or right? We're Batman. I'm Batman. Oh, I feel like... Oh, I don't know. Should we go right? Right's right, right? Right. Oh, hello. Don't think I've been in here before. Examine. Play. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, I hope I'm somebody's favorite android. You've unlocked a dialogue for all action, often beneficial. Okay. 57%. Ooh. You've unlocked. Okay. Child didn't hear gunshots. Oh, so I had music playing. That's like me right now. Oh my gosh, guys, have I told you that I'm actually partially deaf right now? Well, I'm not partially. Well, I just got lots of. I just got a bit bunged up ears, so that's probably why that I just can't hear. We live. So yeah, I went out today and I literally. People were talking to me and I just could not hear a single word they were saying. And I was just laughing and nodding my head like I could hear. And I think I just annoyed some people. But I can't help it. Yeah, everybody's favorite cheese, that's for sure. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet of you to say. Oh. I wanted to go in there. Can I not get in there? Oh. Let's go this way. Go, go. Can I run? Wait, are you running? Oh, there's so much in here. Let's go this way.
All units hold positions. The negotiators going in.
We've all been there. Right, right. I feel like we've all had a bit of a gammy ears. Deceased. Wait. Phillips John. Bullet wound in the lungs. And a bullet wound in the kidney, which is the fatal part. And he had internal bleeding from his lung hemorrhage. Reconstruct. He was sat down. He was sat down. Father was holding something. And then he got shot. And that's it. He got shot. And that's how he died. Okay, cool. It's not cool that he died, but it's cool that... Wait, did I not analyze it all? Did I not reconstruct it properly? What I did? Oh. 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 I missed something. Oops. Glad I went back. There we go. Oh, the tablet. 61%. Okay. 61. 61. Go, 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 go. Take it. So weird. We have kidneys as well as adult knees. Oh my god, you guys are so silly. Kidneys. Adult knees. What are these? Ah! Oh my gosh, that scared me. I tried to say a funny joke, but I scared myself. Okay, do I need to be quick? Oh, okay, what's this? Okay, wait, analyze this dude. Okay. Bullet wound. Ah! What? His name is Descartes Anthony. He's dead. Rip. Oh my gosh. Gunshot residue. Okay. What are these? A plate of cheese. Oh my gosh. Oh wait. Okay. Bang bang. Wait. Oh, I can turn. Oh, that's the guy. Okay. Cop shot the deviant. Okay. And then... Oh! The child saw the shooting. Wait. And with that, that's the weapon. Wait, where's the weapon? Where are you going? Get the weapon. Under the table.
What are we waiting for?
Pick it up. What are these? What are those? Those are my Crocs. You guys remember those? Those names? I can't actually remember the full name. Okay. Oh, you know when the music starts getting more intense? Like in Mario Kart? Like everybody's like automatically more intense. Okay, wait, something's boiling. Save the boil. Quick, quick, quick. I'm not looking at you. I'm not. Family was about to have dinner. Oh no. Oh no, my probability of success is going down. Go to the... Oh. Okay, that wasn't very helpful. Ah! Okay, over here. Go. Fresh blue blood. The android was wounded. Unit model PL600. %. Okay. Oh, is that the child's shoe? Child size shoes. Card for model. Hostage could be wounded. 81%. Is that the place? Can I talk to you? Oh, she pleaded on her knee. Hostage located. Is there anything else? Wait, no. Is there anything else inside that I've missed? I feel like everything's done. When I'm making rice, I get more wary when it starts steaming and bubbling. Oh my gosh, I remember boiling rice. It's so terrifying. Oh my gosh, just maybe jump.
Stay back! Don't come any closer or I'll jump!
No, please, I'm begging you!
Okay, we are gonna save the child. That is, we need to save the child. Oh, hey, quick.
Hi, Daniel. My name is Connor.
How do you know my name?
I know a lot of things about you. I've come to get you out of this.
Oh, wait, go. You're gonna have to. I'm 66%. Oh, this isn't good. This isn't good. Don't jump is so healthy. It is. It is healthy to jump. I love jumping.
But you need to trust
Hi,
me.
zombie. How you
Let me
doing?
help you.
I don't want your help! Nobody can help me! All I want is for
69.
all this to stop. I just want all this to stop! Are you armed?
Let's tell the truth.
Yes. I have a gun.
Drop it! No sudden moves or I'll shoot!
There.
Okay, we're gonna win. Hi, Flower, how you doing? What do you mean jump is so healthy, guys? You just wait. Emma and you.
I know you and Emma were very close.
I love jumping.
You think she betrayed you, but she's done nothing wrong.
She lied to me! I thought she loved me. But I was wrong. She's just like all the other humans.
Daniel, no!
Wait, possible claws?
They were going to replace you, and you became upset. That's what happened, right?
I thought I was part of the family.
Oh,
I thought I mattered.
you do matter.
But I was just their toy. Something to throw away when you're done with it.
Let's be sympathetic.
Listen. I know it's not your fault. These emotions you're feeling are just errors in your software.
No, it's not my fault. I never wanted this. I love them,
Oh.
you know? But I was nothing to them. Just a slave to be ordered around. I can't stand that noise anymore. Tell that helicopter to get out of here.
Accept. It'll be more cheesy today than yesterday. Of course. I'm always cheesier than the day
I
before.
did what you wanted.
I don't know. Rational.
Listen, there are snipers on every roof. Let the hostage go. You have no other choice.
Oh no, it's gone
I
down.
want everyone to leave. And I want a car. When I'm outside the city, I'll let her go.
Sacrifice. Compromise.
That's impossible, Daniel. Let the girl go, and I promise you won't be hurt.
Okay.
I don't want to die.
You took human lives. Nothing can stop them from destroying you now. taking one
Oh.
more life won't do you any good.
Please.
I've spent my life taking orders. Now it's my turn to
No.
decide.
Run, 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 run. Oh yeah, we're so good. If he jumps and he's healthy right now, he'll be healthy for the rest of his life. Wow. 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 You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're doing good. Just got some pork udon. Oh, nice. Nice. Is it yummy? What about you, Sam? I'm doing good, thank you. I've had a good day. I've eaten yummy food today, so my tummy is nice and happy. Have you guys had a good weekend? To be honest, I don't like pork or udon, so for me, I would not like that. Wait, oh no, I've eaten yummy food. I have eaten. I've eaten lots. My tummy is full and happy. Don't worry, don't worry. If I didn't eat anything, I would be a bit poorly. For lunch today, I went out with my friend, and I had some cheesy garlic bread, and I had some like stuffed pepper with cheese. Yeah. And I just had some rice for dinner because I was quite full from lunch. To be honest, it was delicious. I like the garlic bread. I like stuffed peppers, but I didn't really like it there. I don't know why. It just wasn't very nice. It was a little. It didn't taste like a lot. But garlic bread, yummers, yummers, delicious. 6 out of 10. Why'd you rate it a 6 out of 10? Actually, to be honest, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. To be honest. We're rice twins. Rice twinning today. Okay, I like to look at the flowchart because I find that really fun. Okay, we saved fish because we are good people. Oh no, I wanted to read it. Ah, oh, you absolute melon. Did you just say garlic bread is mid? No, I love garlic bread. So that's alright. That's neat. You don't need to eat meat all the time.
And handles the kids' homework from elementary school up to good afternoon.
Oh, okay, that was a bit of a stutter there. Oh, am I gonna have to lower the settings a bit? Hello. Whoa. Oh, I got. How do I pause? Let me pause. Let me pause. Okay. Oh my gosh, what the heck is that? That's not the pause button. Tab. Shift tab. What? Shift tab. Oh no, what have I pressed? Oh my gosh. Have I crashed? Oh no. Ah.
Comes with a 2-year warranty for parts and labor. Around the house. Painting, plumbing, gardening, repairs. We'll take it. An excellent choice. If you'll just follow
We're back. Hi.
How much is that?
Hi Jason. Hi Argrima. How you guys doing? Okay. I've had to lower my my VTuber settings. And the game settings.
Anyway, it's as good as new now, except that we had to reset it.
Ooh.
Meaning we had to wipe its memory. I hope you don't mind.
That'll be fine.
Okay. Did you give it a name?
My daughter
Oh
did.
my gosh. Okay. Do we look good? Are we back?
Register your name.
It's me.
My name is Kara.
Okay. Okay, it's looking good. Okay. Well, on my end it is. Okay. See, this is why you shouldn't rush trying to stream, because some games don't like VTubers and you have to adjust things, and I did not do that because I'm really clever, because I kind of forgot the last time I played this I had the exact same issues, and that was 3 years ago. Stable now. Good. Believe it or not, I'm 30 FPS. Can you guys tell? Do I look like I'm 30 FPS? Oh yeah. Whoa. I'm not going to speedy. It's okay, Sam. You press a bit. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you. Thanks, guys. I shall continue to persevere. Despite all odds, I will win eventually. No, it's just sometimes you need to lower it to something a bit smaller. Looks good even at 30 FPS. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you just started. Oh, hello, Devilish Kin. How are you doing? It's good to see you on the Super She's today. Oh, that was the intro. This is easily one of my favorite multiple choice games. Yeah, it's so good, right? And it's Marcus! I love Marcus. I think he's so cute. Looks similar to us. Okay, cool beans.
Yes, I think that's enough.
This is a game really cheap a couple months ago. I don't know, I've had this game for years though. Maybe. I think I probably paid, I don't even know. I don't know. It was like 3 years ago. I don't remember. Oh, I love reading these. The secrets of androids. I don't know if I should read it. I don't know if I can be bothered. You know what? Design androids that are easily accepted by humans as huge challenges Cyberlife had to overcome. Jason Grubb, director of the Humanization Department of Cyberlife, unveiled some of the design secrets in a recent interview. The first androids were perfect. They had perfect faces, perfect expressions, and we soon realized that there was something disturbing about them that made people feel uncomfortable. Cyberlife worked on ways to humanize the machines so they could enter our homes and become new members of our family. Okay, cool. Oh, they created androids of both genders and all ethnicities, analyzing thousands of voices to find the most pleasing tones. Realistic blinking was perfected through totally unnecessary, along with breathing, facial hair, and many other humanizing traits. This perfect simulation of humanity, down to the detail that androids simply don't need, is the secret of Cyberlife's design success. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I can't believe you cool beating. I'm sorry. I love cool beating people. Androids can Siphon. What? Siphon your energy. Oh wait, wrong universe. Maybe. I can take energy. Maybe. I don't think you need to read them. Is that a hint that you don't want me to read? Do you not want me to read? I'm gonna read this one though. Okay, climate change. How the environment is changing America's society. Miami to heighten the seawall by further 10 meters. Because climate change is real, guys. A recent US census has found that the sea levels continue to rise and climate change leads to more and more extreme weathers. America's once prosperous coastal cities are being deserted by the rich. Not the rich! Water-style real estate in once top attractions like Miami and Los Angeles are experiencing freight flights, with wealthy residents opting for properties further inland and or at higher altitudes. This is driving up the prices in once rural areas and plummeting house values in the previous desirable neighborhoods. While this might sound like an opportunity for poorer Americans to enjoy the new lifestyle, the reality is less attractive. It's like this is real, guys. Coastal properties are not just exposed to the regular flooding, hurricanes, and other climate weather. They also suffer from urban flight, with the services and amenities following over richer customers into new areas. Urban development specialist Arnold Waters calls this the donut effect, whereby the previous centers of coastal cities get hollowed out. This census is the latest example of how climate change is affecting American societies in ways previously not imagined, altering not only the face of our environment, but even the social fabric of our nation. And that is why we need to look after our life, our things around us, the world. Oh my gosh, crazy stuff. Android survivals to iPods. Oh wait, wrong universe. Wait, I don't get what universe that is. American society forget everybody. What else? Well, I mean, to be fair, we are so Americanized here. Like, a lot of the world like copies America, and you see it all the time, and it's getting more and more prevalent. It's mental. Oh, what's going on here? Are you alright? Me too. First is Dragon Ball, the second is real life. Oh! Oh, wait for the green light. Okay. I'm not gonna be silly. Misunderstood. Wait, why? I meant I don't think it's important to the story. I think it's important. Wait, do I need to press the button? Or do I just wait? Oh, green! Go, go, go! Walk, walk, run, run, run. Have a hot dog. Where are we going? Retrieve order 847 at Bellini Pants. Okay. Making my way downtown. You just littered! Oh my gosh, I hate when people litter. Did you see her? That's so rude. Right in front of me too. Anything around? Oh, hi. Can I watch you? Wait, LB. Oh yeah. Cool stuff. I want to talk to him. Can I not talk to him? Oh yeah. Maybe not. Okay, bye. Maybe don't start singing. Maybe find a new job. Oh, somebody over here.
My brethren, we have to turn our backs on sin.
Oh.
We have to burn.
Can I just say no?
Let us
Oh.
burn them all.
No.
Poor sinners. The end is not.
Okay, where's Bellini Pants? Oh, right there. This is so much, right? They are so silly. I would not like it if someone did that. Especially in front of me. I feel like that's just rude. Hello. Oh, collect.
Identification verified. Here is your order number 847. That will be $63.99. Please confirm payment.
Hey.
Payment confirmed. Transaction complete.
Take. Okay, let's go. Do, 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 do. Let's go home. Ah. Bye bye. Okay. Oh wait, RB switch camera angles. Oh, okay. Thank you. Letters would say that they're just creating paid jobs for the others. Stop. No, because I would, because they're just so lazy. I can't think of a good excuse to why they are being lazy. Just take your rubbish home, guys. Anything around here that I can look at? Wait, what? Where's the bus stop? Oh, is there a protest? I want to join. Oh, will they shout at me? Oh, they wait. Oh, they don't like me.
Where the fuck you going, Tin Can?
What are you doing?
No kidding. Hey guys, check it out. We got one of those tin cans here.
Look at this little motherfucker. You steal our jobs, but you can't even stand up.
Oh. Okay, get up, get up, get up, get up. Oh, oh, a little bit stuttery. Oh. Oh. Oh, ugh. Hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. Can I... Is it gonna do that weird thing again? Maybe I should change one of the game settings, maybe. Because I don't want things to feel... I don't know what that means, so I'm gonna switch it off. I'll switch that off too. We don't like bullies. They don't realise people get paid by the hour, not the amount. Exactly. Why is it discrimination for everything? People suck, right? Like, just don't discriminate people. Easy.
Alright.
Oh.
That's enough. Leave it alone.
Let us teach this bastard a lesson.
Job stealer. Just get a job.
You damage it, I'm gonna
Easy.
have to find you.
I mean, it's not easy getting a job though. But if you want a job,
I'm gonna have to find you.
you know, you gotta look for one. If you're not looking for one and just being a meanie, then
You can take your job next.
not good.
Like it. Okay.
I don't know, it could be my model too.
Let's go. Run along.
Because I've got a 3D model. It is like this with some games, but it's because I haven't played any like higher intensity games for like a while. Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't know what I'm pressing, but every time I press it, it goes weird. What is that? Stop. Might just make you... I don't know what... Maybe if I just make you... I don't know what does that do? Oh, it makes me look a little bit... Ooh! Okay, I might just sacrifice my model. Might put her on a low quality. Your butthead. Is laggy, most likely OBS is starved for resources. I literally, all I have open is my game, OBS and Warudo, I believe. Yeah, and Steam. Now it's fine. I mean, it's only fine for this. It's like with the cutscenes when there's action. I think that's when it gets like a bit dodgy. Enter, enter, enter. But we'll see. We'll see. The segregation. It makes me so sad. Okay, the shades of color. Okay. Oh, world stats. Oh, walking in the park. Read climate change. Oh, I missed loads. Listen to the busker. Visit paint store. Watch the preacher. I didn't yell at the preacher. Select package. Protest, harass Marcus. Marcus took the bus. Oh, wait, what did I miss here? Oh, badge. High quality or not, you still peak. Thank you. You still get it. You still get me. You'll miss a bunch in the game. Well, it's okay. Open. Well, I'm playing it how I want to play it, but I think I'm gonna make some different choices later on in the game. Because I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't played before, though. Well, I don't want to spoil what happened when I played it.
The place is a mess. You do the housework, the washing, you cook the meals, and you take care of... God damn it, where the fuck's the brat gone now?
Oh, language,
Alice!
please.
Alice! Oh, there you are. That's Alice. You look after her. Homework, bath, all that crap. Got
Even the cheapest cheeses at Tesco are still
Get
delicious.
started down here, then
True.
upstairs.
But I do prefer an expensive cheese. I love Cara too. She's so sweetie. What are teachers kind of environment? Urgent task, collect the trash. Okay. Wait, is that trash? That looks like trash. Is that not trash? Oh. Trash! I'm also American when I say that. Oh. Trash. Oh, the phone's ringing.
Yeah. Maybe. Depends on what you need.
She's just putting it all in the bin. She's not recycling. How dare she? Okay, take the trash out. How? Over here?
Yeah, I can get that.
That. Wait, how do I take it out? Where do I put the rubbish?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll bring it tomorrow.
Oh. Of rubbish.
Yeah, same place. You know where.
That, I'm surprised that bag's not going to split. Realistically.
Right.
The bag would split with all that stuff. Like, she can get cardboard in that as well. That's impressive.
Be on.
Open. Look out the trash. Ooh, like a sim.
Fuck, man.
Why? You're free? I'm not. Dishwasher's not working. Okay. Imagine if you could like make payment like that. That would be mental. Like so easy. Oh, you're free from ad jail. Oh, were you in ad? Sorry. Sorry. Welcome back though. What ad did you get today? Oh, bellow. Okay. What the heck is he making? A weird noise. Okay. Dear. Oh. Wait. Ah! Angle. Ah! What? Why am I going under a tree? Girl, don't get out from the tree. But the. What are you doing? Technically, you're right. It would be an Insidious ad, like as in the movies Insidious. Yeah, it was about the horror movies Insidious. I love those movies. I like the first two. How many are there now? Oh my goodness. Let's talk to her. Hello. Oh, let's talk about the weather.
It's not very nice out. You might catch cold. I could get you a sweater if you want.
The backyard.
You like playing out here?
Bye. We washed laundry. Wait. I was inside. Ah! Oh! We're stuck on the stairs. Getting. Okay, where is the washing machine? Where is the washing machine? Is it in here? Oh, is that a washing machine? I'm assuming so. Oh! Yes, I think so. If I had to guess, they'll keep going till there's at least 10 of them, like every other horror franchise. I know, it's so annoying when they do it. It's like, why can't we just enjoy one thing in our lives, right? I know there's loads now, right? They probably lost their way a bunch. Oh, is that drugs? Red ice. Oh dear. Acid.
You shouldn't mess around with my stuff. It makes me nervous.
I'm sorry, Todd.
You just stay the fuck out of my business. Unless you want to piss me off. You want to piss me off?
No, Todd.
He needs to stop the noises. I think he's just like an old, gross guy that needs a better and healthier choices in his life. Get him. Go get him. Okay, we took the trash out. Collect the dishes and vacuum. Vacuum. Dishes. Oh! I always forget how jarring the angles are. Where is that? Dishes. Dishes. This way. No. No, I don't want to talk to you. Oh, he's doing drugs, that's why. That's probably the noise. Where is the dishes? I don't want to talk to you. Oh. Okay. Wash the dishes. Put them in the sink. Where's the sink? Put it in the sink. Wash the dishes. Scrub, 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 scrub. Scrub, 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 scrub. Scrub, 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 scrub. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Aww. You're so cute. Wash, 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 wash.
Kara!
Yes, Todd?
Bring me a cold beer!
Right away.
Into the fridge. Get a beer. Here is your beer. Oh, what else? Vacuum cleaner. Is that vacuum cleaner? Tidy. Got some books. Turn it on. Turn it on. Would have been fun if you could mix put like trash into the washing machine. Oh, that would be fun. And then like she would be like broken. Oh wait, she's playing with the vacuum. That's so cute.
Stop that right now!
Oh, that's rude. I want to read though.
Why is she always pushing me?
Because she's a child, maybe. Oh my gosh. Okay, Android Power. Should it be outlawed? In its third game of the season, Android pitcher X67. Oh my gosh! 6-7 bunch from a pitch that broke the 120 mark. The human batsman wasn't able to swing until the ball was already reached the catcher's glove. Androids were introduced as a one per team innovation, but they've come to dominate team strategy. Every draft season, major professional baseball teams breaking their own transfer records to purchase these latest Android models. But is the game suffering? Yes. Jenny Waterfield, head of the fanzine, home runs as fans becoming disenchanted. The magical sport is seeing the limits of the human potential. A machine breaking these kinds of records isn't just exciting or even surprising, but not everybody agrees. Christopher Lennox, a baseball pundit and ex-pitcher, thinks androids are making the game more exciting. These machines are shaking things up and pushing players to do even better. The game can only survive by evolving. Why don't they just have an Android team, like Android version of the same sport, separately to the human version? You know? I don't know, but then it's like, I don't know. It's so tricky, right? It's so tricky. It's like things you need to think about. Connecting the dots. The transport innovation that's shaken up California. The new Subtube completed its first journey today from Manhattan to downtown LA in under 2 hours, less than half of the 5-hour flight time. The top speed of 1,000 800 miles per hour is made possible because the tube travels through a depressurized chamber, providing a near frictionless environment for its magnetized motors. For commuters, this raises a tantalizing prospect of finishing a long shift in the Big Apple and putting your feet up in the Golden Coast. California's property markets are reaching suburban prices have skyrocketed 64%. LA realtors Charlene Lowe says she knows where the new buyers are coming from. The East Coast types, specifically New Yorkers, they see a chance to keep that New York City salary whilst enjoying the LA lifestyle, and they're scrambling over each other to take advantage. Real estate isn't the only thing shaking up. School places are rapidly filling, and suburban realtors are ranking up prices in anticipation of those New York dollars flooding in. Long-time Californians are expected to be pushed out of the cities, which is why they've been protesting in the New Line. As one of the angry demonstrators put it, first Detroit takes our jobs, then New York takes our homes. When's it gonna end? Ooh, so interesting. So interesting. Because, you never know what's going to happen in the future. Like, maybe something like this will happen. We don't know. Is there a point to watch sports if they're on Android? I mean, I feel like people watch anything, right? They don't need to watch something for a reason. Yeah, better than gambling, true. Yeah, you never know what we'll see in our lifetimes. Anything is possible.
I've made a good start down here. I'll head upstairs.
And this fictional dystopian feature, the details don't have to be perfect. Yeah, upstairs. I want to talk to Alice though. Befriend the child. It's because she looks so lonely. She got no friends.
What's its name?
Oh, I don't think I've really watched South Park, so I don't really know that reference. Unfortunately. Sorry. Upstairs. Okay. Urgent task. Tidy Todd's room. This is Todd's room. Tidy. Oh, he's got a guitar. That's nice. Oh, is this... Oh, is that a different magazine? Let's read every single magazine. Okay, I'll be ready. I'll be ready for the next magazine. I know I am. Oh, you know the memes. Okay, you know what? That's fair. That's fair enough. Okay. American football has largely recited the spread of the Android players, with top-tier games still exclusively human affair. But there may be... That may be about to change. Following CyberLife's recent unveiling of the technical demo, QB1000, Android quarterback capable of throwing from end zone to end zone and hitting the target 6 inches wide. The models also program over 1,500 plays, from classics such as bootlegs and handoffs to much more specialized maneuvers, all which are adapted in real time. I have no idea what that means, because I don't know anything about football, but yeah. QB1000 revealed that the recent CyberLife exhibition in Detroit, where the Android manufacturer showed a variety of prototypes designed to show the potential of bleeding-edge technology. But while CyberLife's latest innovation has some fans drooling, Roy Kenstone, founder of the Anti-Android fan club, sees this in a suspect. CyberLife knows exactly what they are doing with this demonstration, and they hope to sort of the sport the same way they all have all the others. It is a conversation. Despite these reservations, some consider this simply a matter of time. Yeah, that's true too. The basketball and baseball already contemplating Android players, and LED Sporting QB might just be around the corner. It's interesting. It's interesting. It's things to consider. Okay, When a driverless vehicle foresees an accident, the car computer makes life and death decisions. For example, deciding which of two pedestrians to hit. But the exact process by which cars can make these decisions is not very well understood. Martin Furlong, the Crown Cars, tried to clarify. In these situations, the car's imaging system gathers the data to determine the pedestrian's age, gender, life expectancy, etc. in the blink of an eye. This data is passed through the public record to determine national status, employment record, life expectancy, and whether they have children. The car then assigns a value to each possible victim based on the criteria like contributing to society. We put a premium on lives that will save lives, like doctors and nurses. That's so... Oh my gosh, that's kind of mental though. All this may sound very reasonable, but Felix Campbell, head of Anti-Automation League, says that the system has no right to make such judgment. Somebody with a criminal record is not necessarily less valuable to society than a doctor. That kind of information is irrelevant to the oh my gosh, of the human life. I give up. But Furlong dismisses such claims. We want our cars to make the best possible choices. And that means acting on the basis of all the information they can gather. The more, the better. But that's the thing. It's like, you know, nobody has, like, their own individuality. Like, you know, everybody's being watched and judged, and it's... to be fair, I feel like that's like already kind of come into place. I thought some cars, maybe the cars don't do that. But I feel like that's like not even that far off. I could just imagine that happening not like relatively soon, if not already. And then take the meds. Antidepressant. Oh, risk of behavior disorders. Oh, the medicine with the gun. How lovely. You've unlocked a dialogue or action. Oh, okay. Ooh, some things over here. Switch on. Everybody would need to fend for themselves more in the future, probably. Oh, that's what we just spoke about. Wow. Oh, that's cute. Look how dystopian we really are. But I don't know. How quickly will this happen? I don't think we have anything to worry yet, but maybe in a couple decades. Oh my gosh, is it How to Train Your Dragon? Oh my gosh, it actually is. That's so cute. Check out the cheetahs as much as you can. Oh my gosh. That's so cute. How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah, do you know How to Train Your Dragon? Was that not How to Train Your Dragon? How do I ventilate? Oh, left trigger. Oh my gosh, I don't know my left and right. Up. There you go, get some air into the room. Pick up. Oh, you live and breathe the How to Train Your Dragon. Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, it was such a popular movie at the time. Okay, wait, clean mess. Is that it? Oh, we done it. Cool. Oh, hello. Oh. Lovely. Clean bathroom. Okay. Oh, is that not a bathroom? A restroom, a bathroom. Okay, is that a bathroom? Tidy. Todd. Every time Todd exists, everybody is instantly sad. Nobody likes Todd. Hey, mop the floor. Get the mop, girl. Hey, go. Okay, is that it? Can I go into Alice's room?
I just want to tidy up your room a little. I only need 2 minutes. Is that okay, Alice?
Wahahaha. Let me go in your room. I'm going to clean it. Your favorite dragon from House Junior's dragon is the squirrel. Oh, I'm trying to. I don't know if I remember. Is that the ugly dragon? That the little one? Or am I thinking? I don't know what name that is. The name of the dragon, apart from Toothless, to be honest. Because Toothless is so cutie. Try to talk to Alice. Okay, is that it? Hi, Alice. The purple lightning dragon. Oh, I don't know. I might need to
Maybe we can be friends.
relook at that. My name is Kara.
You said you chose my name. Kara. It's nice. How did you choose it?
I don't remember that dragon, you know. Oh, interest. Ah! I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to look at a
What you
dragon.
like to do, where you like to go, your favorite foods. That would really help me.
It's being
I'm
quiet.
very quiet. I hope I don't scare you.
She's like, girl, I'm terrified. Oh! So cute. A key. You got the key to my heart. Okay, where do we go now? Ask Todd for new instructions. Oh, can I go in here? Oh, it's the key for her treasures. In that case, I recommend. Oh, it's a TV show. I didn't even know they had TV shows. Crazy. Four-leaf clover. Oh, she's sad. Oh no. Oh! Oh, it's the other her before they replaced her. She's trying to show you. Oh. So cute. Such a good kiddo. They take place in between the first two films and they really extend the lore of the universe in brilliant ways. Oh my gosh, the more you know. Thank you for that information.
I'm playing.
You're playing. I know what you're thinking. dad's a lowlife. Huh? Fucking loser? Can't get a job, take care of his family? Don't you think I tried to make things work? But whatever I do, when someone comes along, they just fuck it all up! I know what you think of me. You hate me. You hate me, don't you? Say it! You hate me!
I hate you.
God, what am I doing? I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know I love you, don't you? You know I love you.
Oh, it's so tricky. Okay, wait. Did I do everything? Oh, I missed something! Ah, poo! Oh, I don't know what I missed. Okay. We did everything. We spoke to Alice. I don't know. I cleaned everything, to be honest. Take out trash. Go upstairs. Did everything upstairs, actually, which is super good. Super good. Okay. And then Alice gives Kara a key. Alice opens the box and... Okay, we missed out one thing. I don't think that's too bad, to be fair. It's Marcus! Okay, deposit the package. Okay. Look in the mirror. Put it down. Ah, this way. Put it down. Bellini paint. Oh, did I say pants earlier? I think I must have said pants. Okay, what's over here? Can I look in the mirror? Hi! Hello, how you doing? Birdies! Oh, it's not a real birdie. Oh, the android birdies! That's so interesting. Okay. Where am I going? Where do I go? Where do I go? Oh, wake up Carl upstairs. Okay. How goes the cheese tuber? The cheese tuber, aka me, is good. I'm glad to hear that you're doing good. How's your Saturday? Upstairs, monsieur. Oh, L. B. I'll be. Dia! I like Dia. Even parts, androids, yeah. Everything's android. Crazy. I mean, I guess it's like useful. Say you're like an older person, and it's a bit more difficult to look after animals, but you would like to have animals. LB. Giraffe. Anything up here? Anything over here? Oh dear. Ha ha ha, so funny. Oh. Draw curtains. Oh, hi.
Good morning, Carl.
Good morning.
It's 10 a.m. The weather is partly cloudy, 54 degrees, 80% humidity.
It's in funny by D&D. Oh, nice.
It sounds like a good day to spend in bed.
That does sound a good day too.
The paint that you ordered.
Oh, yes, I've forgotten.
That is the difference between you and me, right, Marcus?
Aww.
You never forget anything.
Oh. Is this your first time playing it? No, I play, my first time playing it was like a few years ago.
Carl.
But it's been a long time.
Thank you.
He's tatted up.
I just opened my eyes and I'm already gritting my teeth.
RB.
Humans are such a fragile machine.
Have you played this before?
They break down so quickly. All this effort to keep them going. Hey, what happened to your clothes?
Oh, it's nothing. Just some demonstrators in the street, Carl.
What a bunch of idiots. They think they can stop progress by roughing up a few androids? I hope they didn't harm you.
No.
Oh, no. They just pushed me around, Carl. I'm fine. Okay. I'll take you to the bathroom now.
There's hope you enjoy it. It's a good game. Me too. I'm just trying to be more mindful. I don't want anything bad to happen. I'd be so sad. I played part of it on my friend's on PlayStation. I never myself. So I watched the full game like a movie. That's a good thing about this game. You can like enjoy it like a movie because it's just story based, right? Well, I hope you enjoyed watching the movie. The movie? The game like a movie. I mean, I guess you could say it is very cinematic. Take Carl to the dining table.
Anything
Okay.
special on the agenda today?
Yes, there's the opening of your retrospective at the Museum of Modern Art. The gallery.
Where am I going?
left 4 messages asking to confirm your attendance.
I haven't decided yet. We'll see about that later.
Okay.
What else?
Chuck him down the stairs.
Just your usual fan mail. I've already answered.
Aww.
Any news from Leo?
No, Carl. I can call him if you like.
No. No, don't bother.
Like, yeah, it's a good game story. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
I'm starving.
Well, your breakfast is ready. Bacon and eggs, just the way you like them.
Thank you, Marcus.
You're welcome.
Oh, serve breakfast. Wait, where is breakfast? Breakfast this way. Oh, kitchen! Cake. Yummers. Oh, that's so cute. It has a smiley face on the cup. Kitchen of the food. There's no way. I did not know that. The more you know.
Thank you, Marcus. Television.
Tensions continue to rise in the Arctic since Russia unilaterally declared the region part of its
I finished my Red Bull. I'm so sad. More specifically, cheese. You know it. That's where my heart lives, actually.
Why don't you find something to do while I finish my breakfast?
Sure. Okay, Carl.
Okay, what shall we do? What shall we find something to do? Let's go this way. Read. Because I like to read. Century, apparently. Okay, are we ready for some more chats? More reads? The North Pole. Why Russia wants it. Russia's interest in the North Pole has intensified with the recent discovery of the precious minerals trapped in the frozen ice, many which have been used to synthesize Imperium. Excuse me, sorry. Android manufacturing increasingly dominates both the US and Russian economies, but this isn't something the GDP's surplus Virium reserves would allow either nation to experiment in more advanced Android models, enhancing their military and industrial output tremendously. Add this as the strategic importance of the region, which connects Russia with Europe through Norway and Denmark, as well as Canada, the prospect of peaceful resolution to the dispute starts to seem unlikely. But, as a spokesperson on the NATO is more optimistic, both nations stand to benefit from a stable, productive Arctic region. A conflict would benefit nobody. President Warren, however, recently... Oh, hello! Oh my gosh. Hello! Thank you for the raid, Sid Nosen. Welcome in. Oh my gosh. Hi, hello. That scared me. Oh my gosh, welcome in. Let me give you a shout out. There we go. Hi, hello. I'm Sam. I really like cheese. Hello. Welcome in, Chris. Welcome in, Sid. Welcome in, Tony and Loic and Mado and Pasto and Miss Snake. Welcome in. I hope you guys had a super duper fun times in Sid's stream. What were you up to? I hope you are doing something super duper funny. Oh, I saw Detroit Become Human. You had to raid. Wait, did you play Detroit Become Human too? Oh, I hope we had so fun. And do you like cheese? Because I know I love cheese. Oh, you played it. Oh, no way. Oh, how are you finding it? Are you enjoying it? I hope so. Also, if you need to raid and run, do what you want to do. I appreciate it so much for the raid. Oh my gosh. Oh, you finished it. Oh, no way. Oh, I hope you got a good ending. Oh my goodness. That's why I kind of want to I wanted to replay it, because this is my second time playing it. So I want to get a good ending. That's why. Oh, Sid was also eating cheese at least once during the stream. No way. What cheese were you eating? I absolutely love cheese. Cheese is my favorite thing ever. Oh my gosh. Lovely. That's a lovely comment. Thank you for that. That's brilliant. I don't even know if I can say that out loud. Cheese. Yeah, I love cheese. If you don't know me, I love cheese, and I make cheese my entire personality. And if you want to let me know what your favorite cheese is, I don't mind, because my favorite cheese is Wensleydale cranberry cheese, and that's what I have based myself on, because it's my favorite cheese ever. Super duper yummers. I recommend if you haven't had it before. Oh yeah, we've been listening to Detroit Become Human. We've been playing it for around an hour and a half so far, and yeah, we've only just got into it. Favorite cheese is some. Thanks, Riku. That's very kind of you. Thank you. So hard to pick a favorite cheese, honestly. And actually, that's valid. It is difficult. I definitely do have a top 5 cheese. But I feel like it does change, because sometimes you feel in the mood to eat different cheeses. But my top 5 is Wensleydale cranberry, Wensleydale camembert, brie. Oh, stinking bishop. Oh wait, I've lied. Oh wait, can I do top 7? OG goat and chili labousse. That's my top 7. It's hard to have a top 5. Top 7 cheeses. Hope you enjoyed. So sophisticated, thank you. I just like a lot of cheese. Okay, I'll be ready to read. Are you ready for the time of your life? Okay, life found on Titan. The Darwin probe, which left exactly 19 years ago to probe the surface of the Titan's methane ice, has just confirmed the presence of the microorganisms living hundreds of kilometers below the surface. in an ocean of salt water protected by a thick layer of ice. After similar microbial matter was found on the Enceladus and other satellites of Saturn, it seemed increasingly possible that life is common in the universe. Oh my goodness. A NASA spokesman responded to this story has stated the latest in the series of pointers to life on other planets. Our Android expeditions to Io is one of the among many other voyages that carry a prime objective of uncovering extraterrestrial life forms. Jason Graff, director of the humanization of cyberlife, said that the company has committed to the partnership with NASA. Our spacefaring androids are specifically designed to function on long-range missions of this kind, and we are proud to have our models at the frontier of human exploration. Oh, see, I feel like that's an interesting concept of, like, you know, because obviously humans can't travel that far into space because, you know, we don't live that long. By using androids could be beneficial to that.
Television off.
Oh, sorry.
Mankind is so depressing. Nothing but greed, stupidity, and violence. 5,000 years of civilization just to get to where we are.
I mean, yeah, true, but that's also life. Things change. Even if you don't like it. I know I don't like change sometimes, but yeah. LB. Some books. Read. Oh, read Keats Odes Shakespeare's Plato. Can I find something else? Read. Oh, is that all we have to read? What should we read, guys? Plato? Oh, does he not read it to me?
What are you reading?
Plato's Republic. It's one of the books you recommended.
So, what do you think?
I quite like philosophy, I think. It asks the questions that I can't answer. You know, what is right or what is wrong, for example. It's not something that is so easy to decide.
Asking questions that have no answers is part of being human, Marcus.
Exactly. Oh.
One day I won't be here to take care of you anymore. You'll have to protect yourself. Make your choices. Decide who you are and want to become. This world doesn't like those who are different, Marcus. Don't let anyone tell you who you should be. Let's go to the studio.
Oh, so sweet. Wait, I wanted to check. Oh, can I not check on the other stuff now? Oh, okay, fine. I'll take you. That's probably how I miss opportunities. Because I end up doing something else, which is a shame. I want to do it all. Reach. He's a good dude. I do like him. He's a good father figure to Marcus.
Let's see where we left off. Remove the sheet.
Remove the sheet? Wait. Oh, this way. Blue. Clean studio. I needs cleaning first. Over here. Clean. I like it too. I love blue stuff. Blue is a very pretty color. It's actually one of my favorite colors. I like pink too. Actually, did you know? Yellow is one of my least favorite colors. I know, the irony. The irony in that. I'm just a little stinker. I know. because I am pink and yellow, but it makes sense to be pink and yellow in this concept. Do you choose with your eyes closed? No! I keep my eyes open. Like, I'm not terrified of the color yellow. Like, I don't hate it. But, like, it's not my favorite, you know? I don't know if there's a color I hate. Oh, maybe like a mustard yellow. I don't like a mustard yellow. That kind of makes me feel sicky. Like an orangey yellow. I don't like that. A lot of stains are yellow. Like sweat stains. I hate wet stain, especially when it's my armpits. I'm like, oh my gosh, don't look. Don't look.
So, what's your verdict, Marcus?
I like it.
Yes, there is something about it. Something I can't quite define. I guess I like it.
Oh.
The truth is, I have nothing left to say anymore. Each day that goes by brings me closer to the end. I'm just an old man clinging to his brushes.
Carl.
But enough about me. Let's see if you have any talent. Give it a try. Try painting something.
Paint? But would I... Painting what?
Anything you want. Give it a try.
Okay. Find a subject to paint. Oh. Got you. Paint the desk. Oh, yeah. Because he said he liked it. So, why not?
That is a perfect copy of reality. But painting is not about replicating the world. It's about interpreting, improving on it, showing something you see.
Carl, I don't think I can do that. It's not in my program.
Go on, go. Try it. Grab that canvas. Do something for me. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Trust me. Try to imagine something that doesn't exist, something you've never seen. Now concentrate on how it makes you feel, and let your hand drift across the canvas.
I do like the detail of this game. It's so pretty. Androids. About pain of androids. Because he got pushed earlier, and that can't feel nice, right? Makes sense, thank you. You guys see my logic? Oh, that previously I'm sorry, it's polished.
Hey, Dad.
Leo.
So yeah, I can't say this because I haven't played.
I didn't hear
But
you.
I always found this game to be so pretty.
Thought I'd stop by. It's been a while, right?
This game's quite old now, though, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Hey, listen, I need some cash, Dad.
Again? What happened to the money I just gave you?
Well, it just goes, you know?
Yeah, you're on it again, aren't you?
No, I swear it's not that.
Don't lie to me, Leo.
What difference does it make? I just need some cash, that's all.
Sorry. The answer's no.
What? Why?
You know why.
Yeah, I think I do know why. You'd rather take care of your plastic toy here than your own son, right?
Oh, is this still the newest game? Really?
Got that I don't.
Crazy.
Smarter, more obedient, not like me, right? But you know what? This thing is not your son. It's a fucking machine.
Leo, that's enough.
Sorry, I was trying to get comfy.
You don't care about anything except yourself and your goddamn paintings. You've never loved anyone. You never loved me, Dad. You never loved me.
Oh. I'm sure he does. That's why he doesn't want to give you money for drugs. He's trying to be a good dad. So tricky. He is a bit silly though. But sometimes these things take over you and you can't help it. Okay. This is my favourite part. I love looking at the timeline. It's so interesting. Arriving home, drop off the package. 67 of the people in the world activated the birds. No way. And 67% noticed Marcus's clothes. Carl noticed Marcus's clothes. Read the book. The Republic of Plateau. Get card to the studio. Paint something at UC. Carl's copy painting. Paint from the heart. Oh! Only 9% picked androids. Oh, and 2% picked pain. That's really interesting, actually. Really interesting. I love the statistics. I'm gonna go to bed now. Good night, Night night, Ricky Man. Thank you for popping by. I hope we have the sweetest of cheesiest dreams. Wishing you the best. See you later, alligator. And wow, crocodile. It's gonna. No, androids allowed. No dogs allowed. Okay, no face detected. I'll get turned away. Oh, let me get your face. Let me get your face. Peterson Jimmy. He's a business owner with no criminal record. Good. What about you? You are Edward. You are administrator and you don't have a criminal record?
Shit, I thought androids weren't allowed in here.
I want to look at everybody's head. Oh, can I check you? You are Kim? Oh, you've got your delivery driver, but you're unemployed right now. And you've got a criminal record for domestic abuse. Not a good guy. Not walk into him. Walk into him. He's got a crop. He's not a good guy. This dude is Dennis. Oh, wait. Accountant. Oh, he's currently unemployed too. Oh, it has got a criminal record of a narcotic supplier. That might be why you're unemployed. Can I look at you? Robert. Chris, unemployed. No criminal record. Anybody else in here? Hello. Oh, I can check myself in the mirror. Oh yeah, I look so good. Okay, can I go to the female toilets? What else is in here? Can I go in here? Unemployment. Okay. Ooh, hello. Turn around. Have I looked at you? Oh, I've already looked at you. Okay. What about you? You are Jonah, unemployed, with no criminal record. A lot of these guys are unemployed. Maybe it's true about what they say. And that's Hank. He's a police lieutenant with no criminal record. I want to look at this guy. Let me look at you. Ooh. Let me look at your face. Christopher's unemployed and he's got a criminal record of the DUI. Wait, have I looked at your face yet? I can't remember. Samuel, a docker with no criminal record. Good. Okay, I think that's everybody. Can I talk to you?
Lieutenant Anderson, my name is Connor. I'm the android sent by CyberLife. I looked for you at the station, but nobody knew where you were. They said you were probably having a drink nearby. I was lucky to find you at the 5th bar.
What do you want?
You were assigned a case early this evening. A homicide involving a CyberLife android. In accordance with procedure, the company has allocated a specialized model to assist investigators.
Well, I don't need any assistance. Especially not from a plastic asshole like you. So just be a good little robot and get the fuck out of here.
Freshen him.
Lieutenant Anderson, I must inform you that I intend to file a report on your behavior.
Oh no, that's not nice. Okay. Persist.
I'm sorry, Lieutenant, but I must insist. My instructions stipulate that I have to accompany you.
You know where you can stick your instructions?
No. Where?
Never mind.
Okay, offer to buy him another drink then.
You know what? I'll buy you one for the road. What do you say? Bartender, the same again, please.
See, that Jim wonders at technology. Make it a double. Oh. Did you say homicide?
Hi, Pinky. Thank you for the lark. I appreciate you for stopping by. I might get a drink after this part.
You wait here.
Which I'm getting a bit thirsty. Okay, be patient, because he's a bit drunk. He's a little bit drunk. Oh, maybe not then. Okay, follow him then.
Josh Douglas from Channel 16. Can you confirm that this is a homicide?
I'm not confirming anything.
Wait, can I get...
Androids are not permitted beyond this point.
It's with me. What part of staying in the car didn't you understand?
Your order contradicted my instructions, Lieutenant.
You don't talk, you don't touch anything, and you stay out of my way. Got it?
Got it.
Evening, Hank. We were starting to think you weren't gonna show.
Yeah, that was the plan until this asshole found me.
So, you got yourself an android, huh?
Oh, very funny. Just tell me what happened.
We had a call around 8 from the landlord. The tenant hadn't paid his rent for a few months, so he thought he'd drop by, see what was going on. That's when he found the body. Jesus, that smell. It was even worse before we opened the windows.
Okay, what do we have going on? Lots of ghost stuff.
His name's Carlos Ortiz.
Ooh. Yummy.
Has a record for theft and aggravated assault. According to the neighbors, he was kind of a loner. Stayed inside most of the time. They hardly ever saw him.
Oh, it's the red ice. That's what it is. Victim used drugs. Stuff over here.
I'd say he's been there for a good 3 weeks. We'll know more from the coroner.
Analyze.
There's a kitchen.
No fingerprints. Android involvement.
Knife over here.
Oh, androids don't have fingerprints.
Any sign of a break-in?
Dry blood. 14 days.
Nope. The landlord said the
19.
front door
Oh my
was
gosh.
locked from the inside.
What
All
the heck?
windows were boarded up. The killer must have gone out the back.
Dry blood. 19 days.
What do we know about his Andrew?
Stuff over here.
Not much. The neighbors confirmed he had one,
Examine.
but it wasn't here when we arrived. I gotta get some air.
Eating club.
I'll be outside.
E.
E.
Flower played text to speech for 10,000 channel points.
Thanks. That really spiced things up. Thank you for still being here. Oh my gosh, my hands are getting sweaty and I'm not even like gaming that hard. Just story is so deep that it's just too intense for me. Slowly. Okay. LB. Oh my gosh, stop standing in a wall, girl. You're lurking. Thank you for the lurk. I appreciate it. Aggravated assault. The signs of a struggle. Okay. Oh. Over there. Analyze for clues. Fingerprint. Oh! Fingerprints by Carlos. Criminal record, theft, and aggravated assault. And where was it? Over there. Okay, cool. Dent caused violent impact. Traces of Ferium. Reconstruct. LT. Oh, he's a big guy. Oh, wait, that's the guy in the living room. Deviant took a knife. Oh. Deviant was attacked. Emotional shock. Oh, wait, that's... Oh. Self-defense. Oh my gosh, okay. It's not the Deviant's fault. Ah, where am I going? Ah, you're like dancing. Okay, over here.
Each letter is perfect.
Ooh, Gossips Weekly.
No human rights like this.
My favorite thing to do. Eden Club. Sorry ladies, but plastic can't be beat. The result of our survey is in, and it's official. 90% of men prefer sex with an android to real women. Wow. Wait, can I say that out loud? Oops. Okay, let's skip that page. There are a few reasons given for this preference, but we think we know the real reason. Androids don't want to talk their feelings afterwards. This story was sponsored by Eden Club. Discretion is our middle name. Nice. There's your android spying on you. More and more experts are suggesting that CyberLife uses 120 million androids to record details of private conversations of its customers and sell them to trading partners. Ever talked about buying that new car while eating dinner with your partner? CyberLife could be using that information for targeted advertising. That information goldmine doesn't stop there. Everything from personal indiscretions to political information could be easily extracted and potentially used for nefarious purposes. Oh my gosh, it's like that's already happening and been happening for a long time already. The spate of records linking Warren's pregnancy to Cyberlife only deepens such concerns. Several consumer rights organizations have requested that Cyberlife would disclose the information it gathers and who it sells information to, but the company has always refused. Requests for formal inquiry have gone unanswered so far. Interesting. Wait, did I not? Wait, I'm missing 2 bits of information. Was that not a bit of information?
Chris, is this written in the victim's blood?
I would say so. We're taking samples for analysis.
Examine victim, maybe.
Red ice.
Can I go down here?
Seems our friend Carlos liked to party.
Oh, move!
Chris,
Oh, okay, maybe not then.
The narcotics.
It's still telling me to go in there, but I went in there.
Consider it done, Lieutenant.
Oh my gosh, the angles do throw me off.
Hey Mike, you finished taking samples there?
Okay, analyze the clues. Red ice for rib. 28 wounds. 28 stab wounds. Oh, that was an angry android. 5'6", weighing at 286 pounds. That's not good. That's obese. Yeah, I'm a death. That's not good, guys. Okay, what? Wait, what? Anywhere else? Oh, hands, fingers. Fingerprints. Database reaches orbits. Cards come on a record. Left an aggravate assault construct. Why? The victim fell. Oh, a victim was stabbed. Oh wait, they came in the kitchen. When, yeah.
He was stabbed 28
times.
Yeah. Seems like the killer really had it in for him.
Report to Lieutenant Anderson. Okay. Oh no, I'm missing. Wait, I'm missing one piece of evidence. Wait. No lights. Regular letters, font Cyberlife Sans. Cyberlife Sans! That's so cute. Wait, oh, no, I'm still missing a piece. This way? Oh, over here? Oh, door. Analyze. Shoe prints.
Door was locked from the inside. Killer must have gone out this way.
There are no footprints apart from Officer Collins' size 10 shoes.
Well, this happened weeks ago. Tracks could have faded.
No, this type of soil would retain a trace. Nobody's been out here for a long time.
Deviant didn't escape this way. That means they're in the house. Oh, was that not a piece of evidence? Wait, is this still making me look at this as evidence? Wait, I'm confused. I'm confused. What is the last piece of evidence if it's not the... Confused. I'm confused me. I want to get all the pieces. Okay, I'll double check in here. Oh, wait. TV! TV? No? Is it not TV? I thought I saw something. No? Am I going crazy? Am I just seeing things? Oh, I'm just gonna talk to you. Oh, I don't know what the piece of evidence is.
I think I figured out what happened.
Oh, yeah? Shoot, I'm all ears.
It all started.
In the kitchen. No!
I think you should look harder at the mess in the kitchen.
I said in the kitchen! I pressed the wrong button!
There are obvious signs of a struggle. The question is, what exactly happened here?
I think the victim attacked the android
With a knife.
with the knife.
No, that can't be.
Oh my gosh, I'm stupid. With a bat.
With the bat.
That droid hit him with a knife. The android stabbed the victim. Yes.
The android stabbed the victim.
Yes, that is correct information.
The android was trying to defend itself, right?
Yes.
Okay, then what happened?
Oh my gosh.
The victim fled to
The living room, the living room, the living room, the living room, the living room B.
the living room.
And I tried to get away from the android. Alright, that makes sense.
The android murdered the victim.
Oh, I don't know, with the knife, with our weapon. I don't know.
Without a weapon.
Your story makes no sense.
No, I don't
You
know.
gotta stick to the facts.
I don't know. I'm stressed with the knife, maybe.
With the knife.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Your theory's not totally ridiculous.
Thanks.
It doesn't tell us where the android went.
It was damaged
Oh my
by
gosh,
the
I'm
bat.
sweating. It's stressing me out.
Lost some what?
Therium. You call it blue blood. It's the fluid that powers androids' biocomponents. It evaporates after a few hours and becomes invisible to the naked eye.
Oh. But I bet you can still see it, can't you?
Correct.
Special blood traces. Right, checker. Oh, stuff on the floor. This way. Oh. Examine. A ladder was used. Ah. Oh. Obsessive handwriting. Ooh! Religious offering. Traces lead to the attic. Find something to climb. Wait, a ladder. Ladder. Oh, we can use a chair. Chair's good.
Hey, what are you doing with that chair?
I'm going to check something.
Gotta check something.
Fine. Open it. Okay. I need to be super stealth. Super stealth. Super stealth. Open. Whoop! I knew that was gonna happen. I still jumped anyway. Da-da. Hello, I'm coming to get you. I think you're over there. Hello.
I was just defending myself.
Oh.
He was gonna kill me. I'm begging you. Don't tell him.
Connor, what the fuck is going on up there?
It's here, Lieutenant!
Oh!
Oh, shit. Chris, Ben, get your asses in here now. Come on!
Oh, I know I missed. Oh, I didn't know what the other piece was. It's really annoyed me. I had no idea where it was. Okay. Okay, got the bar. I face scan the customers. I offer to buy him another drink. Examine the files. The chair, missing file. I know I messed a few things up there, to be honest, which kind of annoyed me. Reconstruct crime, follows the attic, such attic. There was like loads I missed. But I couldn't find it. It was hard. It's hard. It's hard. Oh, actually. Oh, wait. I'm going to quickly pause and I'm going to quickly go and get a drink because I'm quite thirsty. But I will be back in a minute. BRB. Konnichiwa. Hi. I'm really itchy. I'm so itchy. It's getting hot again, which means I'm super duper warm and I'm feeling super duper itchy. Unfortunately, it happens every single time and it really, really annoys me. But it's okay because I have a cider. I got a yummy, yummy cider. So life is good. Life is good. So I'm good. So live, love, laugh, drink a cider, and be glad. Onwards we go with the game. I do love this game. Oh, we're back to Kara. I've also put my fan on as well because I'm just so warm. I'm just trying to get some air flowing. You know what I mean? Also, I tried to make a crochet cheese yesterday, but it looks really cursed. Okay, serve food. I love food. Give me some food. Spaghetti.
There wasn't much in the kitchen. I did what I could.
I'm on the lights. Do do. Serve Alice and Todd.
Life's funny. I lost my job because of androids. And when I need somebody to take care of this goddamn house, what do? I go out and hire a fucking android.
The irony. It's because androids are cheaper than people. Gotta hire people.
Of course, androids are so fucking wonderful.
Anything fun? Wait, I'll wait for the instructions. Okay.
They never fail. They're never tired. Never sad. They're so fucking perfect. They ruin my fucking life.
Oh.
What's your fucking problem?
Oh.
Not the life you dreamed of, eh? Maybe you think this is easy. Maybe you think it's my fault we live in this fucking shithole. My fault your fucking mother took off. You should stop taking drugs, Todd. Sometimes you really scare me, Todd. Fucking bitch took off without a word. Fucking whore walked out on me for a fucking accountant! It's all your fault.
Daddy, no.
It's all your fucking fault! Get back here. Come back here. Come back here right now! Yes!
Oh. Okay, let's go see Alice.
You stay there. Don't you dare fucking move, or I'll bust you worse than last time.
Don't move.
Took off without a word. I could have been happy. I could have had a family, but no! She didn't give a shit about how I felt. I did everything I could to make her happy. It just wasn't enough. I just wasn't good enough for her!
So he takes more drugs. That's going to help.
Little fucking brat! Oh, it's all her fault!
Oh. LB? Left, left, left. That one. Hey. Protect Alice. Reason of Todd. Reason. Do something now. Reason of Todd.
Todd, it's not right for a father to hurt his daughter.
Alice!
She's chasing the system. No! Get up! Cheese the system. Okay, look. Screw. No, protect the child now, because clearly he can't be reasoned with. Run. Oh wait, get the gun. Where'd the gun? Get the gun. We are gonna kill that dude. Go. Get the gun. I say no to violence on exception when it comes to people hurting children. Then wait.
That's enough. Leave her alone.
Why do you think you'd be reasoned with in the first place? Well, it's always good to try and reason before you act on violence.
No! I want you to leave her alone.
You want? What do you mean you want? What are you gonna do? You gonna shoot me? Is that it? You gonna shoot a human? You seem to have a problem. I think we need to fix that.
Abby! Hey! B.
Watch out, Kara!
B.
Come here, bitch.
A. B. B. Smash. A. B. No. No, got the wrong one.
Leave her alone!
You do as I say.
Oh my gosh, that was so stressful. Well. Rip. Not gonna say he deserved it, but he deserved it. I was gonna make it, thank goodness I did. Okay, we have to like run. We need to go, girl. Oh my, what the, why am I dancing? What the heck? Hello? That was scary, right? I don't know what happened. Well, that's not supposed to happen. I'm famous. How you doing, man? You just want no better time to celebrate. It's not the time to celebrate. That was not the time. That was not the time. After murdering somebody, oh yeah, let's hit them to Gangnam Style. I need to figure out. That was too loud as well. I'm sorry, guys. Give me a minute. Oh, I'm crying. I don't even know what I did. I think I did this the other day when I was trying to work on stuff. I don't even know what I named this on because I'm really clever like that, and I don't like to name things properly and make my life really difficult. What are you called? Oh my gosh. Are you down? No. Who are you? I don't even know what I named this under. Not the time, not the place. Oh my gosh. I don't know what I've done. I'm so confused. I'm genuinely confused. No. Okay, this will teach me to mark my own stuff because this is actually really confusing. Hydrate. Make me bold. I have no idea. I'm actually really confused and a little bit scared. I'm really confused. I don't know. I'm looking everywhere. I'm so confused. I don't know where it is. I genuinely don't know where it is. Okay, I'm gonna ignore that. I'm gonna ignore that and pretend it won't happen again. Hi TDK, thank you for contributing to the Cuphead Stream Challenge. 20,000 is crazy. That's mental. Thanks for the clip, Devilish King. I appreciate it. Oh my gosh, okay. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure that out off stream because I'll be there all day. I generally do not know. I have no idea. I probably did something really clever, as always, forget what I'm doing. Well, I hope you enjoyed that mess of a moment. Because I got deafened, so yay! Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. Whoa! There was a lot of things that could have happened. Wow. So. Okay, dinner's ready. Wait on Todd and Alice. Todd gets mad. Break programming. Kara becomes deviant, but I tried to reason with Todd. And then Todd shoves Kara downstairs. Todd goes upstairs. But there's lots of things that could have happened. Gun seen in the new home. Take gun. Get to Alice after Todd. Threaten with a gun. Defend Alice. Tara kills Todd. Open the front door. Ride to the bus. Kara Todd. Leave room. Todd chases Kara. Oh, there's an option where you can escape through the yard. The yard. Aw, thank you for the follow, Palm Top Shisha. Welcome in. Hope you have a super today. Oh, so we could have got that version without killing, but never mind. We're murderers now. Scary but fun. We love Silly vibes.
That was by far the most boring party I've been to in the last 25 years. Every time I go to one of these, I ask myself, what the hell am I doing here?
Honestly, it's so true.
Cocktail parties and all the schmooze.
Oh, I don't like cocktails. I feel like cocktails are overrated.
People who admire your work to meet
Excuse me. Sorry.
No one gives a
Thank you for the hydrate.
All they care about is how much money they're gonna make out of it. Come on, let's have a drink. All the excitement.
Mm.
This whole thing is
Make sure you get a drink too. Okay. Prepare for Carl's evening and take Carl to the living room. Cocktails go. I feel like every time I've had a cocktail, I haven't really liked them.
Scott,
I just
neither
they don't do the trick for me. They're so expensive. Maybe I'm just cheap and I want to get drunk quickly. Like, if I'm paying like £15 a drink, that's not gonna get me drunk. I'm like, what is the point? Hydration makes you burp. Yeah, it really does. I like ciders though. I'm drinking a cider.
No, I'm sure I didn't.
A lot of cider. Super yummers.
Call the police.
Detroit Police, what's your emergency?
This is Carl Manfred's android at 8941 Lafayette Avenue. We've just returned home and found the lights on. There may have been a break-in.
A patrol car is on the way.
Let's go check it out.
Oh, should we do that? Should we really do that? Do we have no choice? Hello.
Leo! What are you doing?
You refuse to help me, so I'm helping myself. It's crazy what some people pay for this shit.
Don't touch them.
Look, they're all gonna be mine sooner or later anyway. Just think of it as a down payment on my inheritance.
Marcus, get him away from there. Get him out of here.
Oh, okay. Make Leo leave. Okay, let's go, Leo. Let's order.
Leo, don't make this difficult. Listen to your father. You need to leave. Now.
All you ever do is tell me to go away. What's wrong, Dad? Not good enough for you? I'm not perfect like this fucking thing.
That's enough. Get out right now.
What makes it so special anyway, huh? What's it got that I don't?
Leave him alone.
Come on, let's see what you got.
Oh! Fight, fight, fight.
Don't defend yourself, you hear me?
Don't defend myself.
Don't do anything.
Go ahead, hit me. What you waiting for? Think you're a man? Act like one.
Stop it.
What's the matter? Too much of a pussy?
Stop it, Leo.
Oh no.
You're scared to fight back, you fucking bitch.
Fight him! Fight him! Fight him! Fight him! You must defend yourself. Fight. 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 Fight.
Oh, right, that's right. I forgot you're not a real person. You're just a fucking piece of plastic.
Oh, Leo, leave him alone.
Oh no, he's gonna have a heart attack. Oh my gosh. Oh.
I'm gonna tear you.
Oh no! I killed his son! Oh no!
Leo. Oh my God.
Oh no! Oh my god, you told me not to fight him!
Leo.
I didn't know he would die straight away!
My little boy.
Carl,
They'll destroy you, Marcus. You gotta go. Get out of here.
Explain.
Carl, I didn't mean to.
Get out! Now! Go! Marcus!
Don't fucking move!
No, is he dead? No! No! Oh, I'm so sad. They got hurt. Police arrive. Oh my goodness. You offered his son. He still kept. I know. That's so sweet. That's so sweet. He's a sweet old man.
Why'd you kill him?
But I'm still sad. I'm still sad about Marcus.
How long were you in the attic?
I didn't have that the last time I played. I did the opposite. That's why I'm so shocked. I think. I don't remember him being shot last time. Unless he did. But I just forgot. I blanked it out. Which is a good thing that I'm replaying this, because I totally forgot.
Fuck it. I'm out of here. We're wasting our time interrogating a machine. We'll get nothing out of it.
You always try roughing it up a little. After all, it's not human.
Androids don't feel pain. You would only damage it.
Oh, you can see other choices. They're white out. Oh, really? Wait. I'll need to have a look next time.
When they're in stressful situations.
Okay, smartass.
What should we do then?
I could try questioning it.
What do we have to lose? Go ahead. Suspect's all yours.
Okay. Okay. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? It's me! I'm so cute.
What the fuck are you doing now?
Sorry, that made me really giggle. Hi! Oh, I do feel bad for him. Analyze. Because he's been through a lot. He got assaulted. Processing LED signs of software instability. Probability of self-destruction low. Excuse me. Hit marks. Non-critical damage level 2 caused by baseball bats. Dried blood. Ortiz Carlos. The guy he killed. Model HK400 housekeeper. Oh, so he's just a housekeeper. Oh, Bun! Repeatedly marketed over 60 months! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's horrible. Reach optimal stress for confession. Oh my gosh. Oh, show photos. I don't want to make people stressed.
You recognize him? It's Carlos Ortiz. Stabbed 28 times. That was written on the wall in his blood.
B. Wounds.
You're damaged. Did your owner do that? Did he beat you?
Comfort.
Listen. I know you've been through a lot. But you need to help me understand what happened.
Oh no, stress going down. But I don't want to be mean. Probe memory.
If you won't talk, probe your memory.
Oh, wait, no, that sounds like a threat.
Please don't do that.
Oh, wait, it's a threat.
What? What are they gonna do to me? They're gonna destroy me, aren't they?
Tell the truth.
They're going to
Because I
disassemble
must
you to look for
always tell the
problems in
truth.
your biocomponents. They have no choice if they want to understand what happened.
Why did you tell them you found me?
I didn't want to. I wanted to leave you there.
I was programmed to hunt deviants like you. I just accomplished my mission.
I don't want to die.
Then talk to me.
I can't.
Choose approach. Oh. Convince. I don't. By threatening. Oh, I don't know.
Don't talk. They're going to tear you apart and analyze you piece by piece. They're going to destroy you. Do you understand?
Indifferent.
Okay then, don't talk. What do I care after all? I mean, I'm not the one accused of murder, right? If you remain silent, there's nothing I can do to help you. They're gonna shut you down for good. You'll be dead. Do you hear me? Dead.
Oh, it failed. Probe his memory.
Leave me no choice.
Oh my gosh. Right trigger. Oh, oh! Oh no, that's so horrible.
Piece of shit. I'll teach you to look me in the eye.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I accessed its memory. I know what happened.
I feel like a horrible person.
What the fuck is it
It's
doing?
destroying itself.
Stop it, goddammit!
Oh no, I don't like it. I don't like that. That freaks me out.
I can't stop it!
Ah, wait, intervene.
You need to stop that right now.
Well, he's not going to listen to you, is he? You absolute melon.
Watch out!
Holy shit.
No. Oh my gosh. Analyze Android. Analyze stress levels. Oh my gosh, how did I mess it up? I'm speechless. I'm speechless. How did my convincing fail? Android starts self-destructing. I intervened. Oh, last time I intervened, I literally did a lot different. Android trusts Connor. Android shot Connor in its cell. Android was sent back to its cell. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. I raised the stress up too much. Oh, I thought I to do that? Oh my gosh. Is Connor dead now? I'm so sad. I love Connor. Oh my gosh, this is actually the saddest time in my life. I was gonna be like, oh, I'm hoping to get a better ending this time. What do? Absolutely destroy it. Alrighty. Apparently I had more brain cells 3 years ago.
Alright. End of the line.
End of the line.
Yeah, you're gonna have to leave.
Wake up. We have to go.
Let's go. I'm actually so sad. Like, I can't describe how sad I am. I'm just killing everybody left, right, and center.
Do you know if there's any other place we could spend the night?
I have no idea. She's gonna have to leave.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll find somewhere to spend the night.
Oh, she's so cold. Okay. Find shelter for the night. Okay, let's go to... Oh,
Come on, Alice, we've got to hurry.
let's go over here. Hi.
We need a place to stay. Do you know anywhere we could spend the night?
Is that a no? Okay. What about down here? Oh, examined. What's it? What are you telling me to examine? I don't know. Oh, over here. So. Wait, what do you? I can't tell what it's telling me to look at. Is it this? Oh, oh, Alice. I talked to Alice.
Alice, you're freezing cold.
I'm okay. I'm not so cold.
You look lost.
We have nowhere to go.
I know someone who can help you.
But that's on the other side of town. We need a place for tonight. Come on, Alice.
Thank you for using Detroit buses.
Oh. Okay, go to the shop. Let's go shopping.
Look, the store is still open. Maybe we should go inside. At least you'll be out of the cold.
Maybe let's talk.
What do you want?
I'm with a little girl, and we have nowhere to go. Could you spare some money so we can get a room for tonight?
Shit. A homeless android? Ah, that's the best yet. Look, this is a convenience store, not the Salvation Army, okay?
Oh.
You better go if you're not gonna buy anything.
Still cash in the register. Still. Oh, we got the gun. Breton.
Wait outside for me. I'll just be 2 minutes.
Wait outside? But why?
Please. Alice, just trust me.
Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm going a bit crazy. Well, I'm trying to do a lot of different things. Sincere.
Sorry, but I have no choice.
Cash register.
Take the cash from the register, put it on the counter.
Oh no. Leave. I didn't know somebody else would walk in the shop.
Fuck!
It's okay, Alice. We're gonna find some place to sleep tonight.
Oh. I kind of backed out just because I scared myself. Because I was like, I don't want to kill another android. I feel so terrible. Keep an abandoned car. I think it's better. I just don't want to. I could have, but I just didn't want to. Oh. What would happen if she dies? Are there any other playable characters? No, I don't think so.
At least we'd be out of the rain.
Kara, I don't like this place.
That would have been terrible. There are others.
But it's just for one night, and no one will look for us here.
Oh, maybe I should come. Wait. Can I go back into the shop and try again? Wait. How do I squat in a house? Oh, there's the house. Across the street. Oh, can I try and rob him again? Wait, what's... I might do that in a second. The dude's gonna be like, what the heck are you doing? It could be kind of funny though. Oh my gosh, let me in!
It's warm in here. You'll feel better in no time.
Change of clothes. Oh, that's a good idea, actually. Dry clothes for Alice. Yes, I think that's a good idea.
They're not our clothes.
Well, obviously.
Alice, you need something warm, and I need to get rid of this uniform.
But that's stealing. We can't do that.
Ugh. Fine, I'm not gonna steal. Oh my gosh, you're making this so hard for me.
We won't do it, okay?
Oh, I don't want to make a child sad. So bad to have morals, I know. Can I ask this guy for help? Can you help me, dude? Okay, Sentry. The bee line to disaster. Okay, pollinating bees officially extinct. For decades, scientists and farmers foresaw the inevitable extinction of bee populations. Despite these warnings, the Global Institute of Endangered Species announced at Washington AGM yesterday that wild bees are officially extinct. Oh my gosh! That's so sad. Oh my gosh. Bee numbers have been ravaged in recent decades by colony collapse disorder, where worker bees disappear, leaving hives which cannot feed themselves. Biologists confirm that CCD was accelerated by the overuse of pesticides in crops, parasites, and pollution. My gosh. Bad to have morals. You'll also try and do a fully moral playthrough first. That's what I think that's what I did my first time. But well, I don't know, when it comes to Kara and Alice, I just can't. They're just, I don't want to upset Alice. That's why I'm too nice. I just can't. I just can't do it. The consequences of this catastrophe will be felt across the cotton industry, fresh water supplies, and, most disturbingly, agriculture. Environmentalist Kathy Lind has stressed the breadth of the news. 1 in 3 mouthfuls of foods we eat relies on pollination of some kind. The result of famine will lead to millions of deaths worldwide. CyberLife Incorporation of guys have come forward with plans of creating robotic bees. Some are pursuing non-robotic approaches, such as Detroit urban farms, currently experimenting with modified strains of bee produced in captivity. There is no guarantee that will thrive. Oh, that's so sad. That does make me sad. In cases often that immoral choices are just shortcuts and extra consequences. I see. Oh, it's so tricky. I find choice games so tricky because my brain is like, it would be interesting if I did this, and then there's like the guilt as well at the same time. It's why do I think too much? It's so inconvenient. For the younger generation, watching concerts in VR has become the norm. And who wouldn't want to slip on the VR headset to enjoy the show and the best seat in the house? It's cheap, safe, no hassle solution, and watching with your favourite performers. But live music is about to be revolutionised. Nina and Kosuke Music have launched a campaign to bring back old-fashioned, old-school concerts with live audience and fantastic performers in the flesh. Charles Morris, NKM spokesperson, explains the culture will go into live music concerts is a thing of the past, but we want to bring it back. Real music is when it's vibrating through your soul, surrounded by people who are experiencing the same thing. That's so true. I love concerts. It's so fun. I haven't been to one in so long though. I was so curious, but I leave that to the next playthrough. Don't know how it works in this game though. It feels like it killed playable characters quite fast. Right. I wasn't expecting that because the last time I played that, that didn't happen. So I was very shocked. Break the Wall will be one of the first bands to take the stage, perform in front of its live audience, and getting an immediate reaction from the mind-blowing. Will be mind-blowing. This is what music is supposed to be all about, says lead singer Buzzrod. The hype, the applause, the screams, you just don't get that by sitting on your sofa. If that proves a success, NKM's next step is to bring back music festivals, which should be to music fans' ears. Oh, that's so sweet. Okay. Sorry, Alice, we're leaving. How do we leave? Let me leave! Wait. Okay, refresh.
Come on, let's go.
Okay.
A motel. Looks like we found.
I know we don't have any money, but maybe. Oh, no, Android's allowed. Never mind.
We have to find $40 and get rid of this uniform, or go somewhere else.
Because you won't let me steal the uniform, and I don't have $40. Unfortunately. How do I squat in a house? I can't see a house. Am I silly? One near the house. By the car. Is it in here? Oh! That's kind of helpful. This one? Sometimes I wish I could walk a bit faster though. Right. Right. Left trigger. B.
Are you alright?
Oh, she nip herself.
Yes, it's just a scratch. Be careful.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, we're just having a look.
Find a way in. Whee! Oh, cool. Oh, there's some bits over here. Look.
Alice? Alice!
Oh my gosh, where the heck is she?
Wait, what are you doing?
Visitors. Ralph doesn't like visitors. They're nasty. They may hurt Ralph.
She's just a little girl.
She's just a little girl. She's not gonna hurt you.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that.
Girl. She's not a little girl. Anyway, what does that matter? Maybe she wants to hurt Ralph.
Android.
Look, I'm an android too. You have nothing to be afraid of. All we want is a place to spend the night.
Visitors are dangerous. Look. What they did to Ralph.
Reassure.
You have nothing to worry about. We're not going to do you any harm. You have my word.
You must excuse Ralph. Ralph still finds it difficult to control himself. Sometimes his fear makes him do things he regrets. Ralph has seen some hard times. He's just so scared the humans will get him again.
Oh,
you can
that's
stay
so
if you
bad.
want. Ralph won't hurt you.
Stay.
Okay.
Ooh.
We'll just stay the night.
Oh, hello. Oh. What's happening there? We had a bit of a stutter weather. Nope. Ah! Are we catching up? Are we being a bit slow? Oh no, we were doing so well. Why is that part, all parts, making it stutter? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you don't want you to do that. Do. Maybe if I put you there. Let's try this. Maybe that'll help. Hi Muto, how are you doing? It's good to see you. Hope you're super duper Tuesday.
Come on! Come on! This way. Ralph has lived here since he ran away. Ralph never goes outside, so no one knows.
Okay, it's fine now. Cool.
Humans come in to squat from time to time, but you know, Ralph just hides till he leaves. You can make yourself at home here. Ralph is gonna go into the other room. He would like to stay with you, but he has things to do.
It's just for one night, Alice. We'll find a better place tomorrow. Right. Let's see where you can sleep. Sit down and I'll start a fire.
Make a bed for Alice and start a fire. Oh, I feel so bad for Alice. I would just want to go to bed if I were her. Find matches and collect wood. And stuff over here. Oh, like blankets. Place the bed near fireplace. Oh, okay, over here. Take like some wood. Would you like some wood? Yes, please. And then back over here. Go, go, go. Then set fire. Fire. Do, 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 fire.
You can come to bed. I did what I could. It's not much, but at least you'll be warm.
Let's talk.
Why didn't he ever love me?
Oh, that's so
Why
sad.
was he always so upset with me?
Well, it's not you, it's just a silly
All I
old
wanted
man.
was a life like other girls. Maybe I did something wrong.
No.
Maybe I wasn't good enough. That's why he was always so angry. I just wanted us to be a family. I just wanted him to love me. Why can't we just be happy?
I don't know, Alice.
You'll never leave me, right? Promise you'll never go.
Oh. I promise. Oh, but you can't. Oh, but you can't promise. You can't promise to a child. I know that.
Alice, we don't know what's going to happen.
Will we be together forever?
Oh no! Don't say that.
Forever.
Oh, you can't keep promises. Oh. Oh, so cute. That makes me so sad.
You've got to sleep.
Oh.
Sleep tight, Alice.
Lie with Alice. Just keep her warm. Oh, okay, that was cute. That was cute. That was a cute moment. I did like that one. Ooh, so much happened there. Okay. That seemed like a big moment in life. So the grayed out one's my old one, right? So did the last stop leave bus. I did pretty much everything apart from that one thing there. I went inside the supermarket, spoke to the clerk, and I just gave up and I left. Last time I tried to steal, but I think I failed. And I went inside the parking lot, car park. Oh my gosh. And then I broke into the car, and I stayed a night in the car last time. And this time I went into the house, so that's a bit different. Spice it up. It's Marcus! Analyzing clues. Audio data corrupted. Impaired vision. Virium pump regulator. And left and right leg components are missing. I'm able to stand. Replace legs. Get those legs. Left. Bumper. Left. Left. Wait, why didn't they disassemble him to understand what happened? Well, I think they just, because there's so many androids, they just probably just dispose of any kind of, like, one. And also they thought that he was the intruder, not the deviant. So maybe they didn't really care. Right leg functional. Right leg component incompatible. Oh, that's so freaky. Left leg functional. Get it. Get the leg. Yeah, it's interesting how they will explain it, yeah. I think that's the fun part of it. It's seeing where the story will go. Oh, that's so freaky. Oh my gosh.
There's a place where we can be free. Find Jericho. Find Jericho.
Find Jericho. Got it. Oh, look at all the hands. That reminds me of Little Nightmares, though, when there's like, oh, I think it's the first one, where there's like a bunch of hands trying to grab you. Ah!
Where are you going?
Oh, sorry, is that a spoiler? Oh, another game. Sorry. Sorry if anybody wants to play Little Nightmares. I mean, it's not really a big spoiler, because... like... thing. Ooh, like a statue. Okay. Ooh. Like my vision. Ooh. Oh, incompatible. Oh, obstacle unit. It's functional. Is it? Oh. Oh. Oh no, they want to live though. Like, I want to be a good person. Oh, what about you? Oh.
I'm begging you. End it. I don't want to live anymore.
Okay.
Make it quick.
Oh. Okay, I know I said I didn't want to, but he did ask. So like I feel like, you know, that's an exception. Oh, did I already look at you? Am I just going round in circles? Oh, yeah. Oh, it looks the same. I don't know where I am. Okay, I need to find somewhere else. Wait, what you? Oh, no. I am just a monkey walker. Oh! Why am I incompatible with everything? Okay, thank goodness. Can I take it? There we go. We got 2 functional eyes. Cool. Okay. I need a pump regulator and an audio processor. Oh, I don't want to take it from the other person because they want to live. I don't want to do that. Incompatible. Compatible. Go, go, go. Yay! Whoa! Everything is automatically so much more louder. Compatible, go, go, go. Condition and stabilized. Yay! Go, Marcus. Look at you go. Climb the slope. Do it. This one. Well, the slope full of people. Climb. Oh. Go, go, go. Sam, hi guy, how you doing? It's good to see you. You made it! Yay! Oh no, you're drunk. Ah, bold now. Hi, Sion. How you doing? Thank you for redeeming boldness. And I hold it and right trigger. Ah, right trigger. Right, ah. I think this is the most I've had in my entire life. Really? Crazy. I'm also drinking. I've got a cider. I got a mixed berries, mixed fruits, Koppenberg cider, and it's super yummers. Mild, Wallace moment. You're lost in your own home. Oh my gosh. Maybe you should drink some water. I think that might be. Woo! I think that would be a good idea. Marcus is so cool. I think he's just awesome. Terminator. I mean, yeah. I don't think I did much differently with Marcus than I did previously. Just because yeah. Okay, back to life. Oh, okay, I think last time I actually killed for the pump. And I killed the guy this time. And I think that's the only thing I did differently. Oh! Oh, thank goodness you're not dead, Connor. Oh my goodness. Oh, yay! I'm not depressed anymore, guys. Life is worth living. Yes, a Desperado earlier. I don't think I've ever had that before. What kind of drink is it? Look for Amanda. Yeah, I just came over. Always. Ow, my eye! I can't see. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I keep burping, guys. I know it's really gross, but sorry. When the key is turned in the lock, and you know you're safe and home, every bit of alcohol kicks in. Oh my gosh! Last year, I had a Christmas party at work. And that was the most I ever drunk in my entire life. And I got dropped off like kinda near my house. But I had to walk a little bit of the way. And like I would take like 10 feet and I would be sick. I would like throw up, take 10 more feet and throw up, and it literally took me like another half an hour to get home, even though it was like a 5-minute walk, because I just kept on being sick and it was really inconvenient. Also, so I feel like you're British, but you're notoriously bad at reading accents, are you? Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. How could you tell? I don't even know my own accent. Connor Mark. One died in August 15th, 2038. Oh! The PD station. Oh! Are those my graves? No way. That's so cool. It's 2 AM right now. I started to freeze this afternoon. Oh my god, you're mental. On your bike, also 2 drunk teams. Oh, that's... You're crazy. Super crazy. Point, you know, I'm too far gone. Oh my gosh. Thank goodness I can figure my way home despite everything. Oh, wait. Is Amanda over there? This way. I'm going this way. I'm going my own detour. That's rough. Are you okay the following day? I was just like really, really hungry the following day. And I just kept on eating like all day.
Hello, Amanda.
Way too far gone. You're just crazy, guy. I feel like I say this to you every time. No, and you're not surprised.
Your predecessor was unfortunately destroyed. It knew deviants could be unpredictable, but it wasn't careful enough.
Oh, sorry.
The same mistake.
I don't intend to.
When a Connor model is destroyed, its memory is transferred to the next one. But some data can be lost in the process. Avoid being destroyed. It would be better for you and the investigation.
Ugh, okay.
I understand.
The interrogation seemed challenging.
Yeah. Drink lots of water.
What did you think of the deviant?
And make sure
It simulated
to eat as well.
fear, in particular, in a very convincing way. It seemed completely overwhelmed by them and behaved irrationally.
This Lieutenant Anderson has been officially assigned to the deviancy case. What do you make of him?
Dysfunctional.
I would define him as dysfunctional. He obviously has a personal situation impacting his professional behavior and seems to have no interest in the investigation.
Unfortunately, we have no choice but to work with him. What do you think is the best approach?
Friendly.
I will try to establish a friendly relationship.
Oh, does she not like that? Sorry.
It will be helpful for the investigation.
Or language.
More and more androids show signs of deviancy. There are millions in circulation. If they become unstable, the consequences will be disastrous. You're the most advanced prototype CyberLife has ever created. If anyone can figure out what's happening, it's you.
You can count on me, Amanda.
Pick up the investigation where the previous Connor left off and put a stop to this.
Okay, let's do it. Oh, we have to do breath test.
Hurry, Connor. There's little time.
That's interesting. The officer looked at me and back at the breathalyzer and back at me and then went, you know what, I'll sort of... Oh, that's nice though. That's nice. At least they let you go home. Yeah, no swearing, please. Please be sure to check out the rules too. I try and put it everywhere. People don't read.
Can I help you?
I'm here to see Lieutenant Anderson.
Do you have authorization?
Yes.
Connect.
Lieutenant Anderson hasn't arrived yet, but you can wait at his desk.
Spin, spin, spin.
Oh, shit. That fucking machine could have killed everyone in the room.
Ask about the desk.
I'm looking for Lieutenant Anderson's desk.
It's that desk right there.
Thank you. I talk to you. No. Oh, but what if I want to talk to everybody? That's oh, I wanted to read everybody's desk.
Excuse me. Do you know what time Lieutenant Anderson usually arrives?
Depends on where he was the night before. If we're lucky, we'll see him before noon.
Thanks.
No, please send to see stuff through the fingers, but the lower class officers which are called have to get at having the attempt to fire and track down every single string. Oh no. Neighborhood officer. I don't know. I haven't really had many encounters. Yeah, at least you got off. They probably just didn't really see any point. Okay, what time is it? I might have to save a point in between. The free laws of robotic parenting. Founded lifestyle of Anesia. When CyberLife initially released the child range, the public was skeptical of purchasing a family. Now, the collection is one of CyberLife's best sellers. But is that really a surprise? Customizable, removable LED, no hunger, no expensive childcare, no new clothes, and not to mention no smelly diapers. The perfect child is only a click away. All it needs is surrendered up, touch of a button. It's child's play. It's a stress-free solution for career-oriented parents, those struggling to have their own children or miss having a youngster at home. Ooh. I wonder if anybody would do that in the future. Interesting. I gotta go to sleep now. Good night, everyone. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Yeah, I think I'm gonna read the book and then I'm gonna save myself. Unemployment at 37.3%, $7,500 for a child that avoids the dreaded teenage years and shelling out of college seemed to be a wise investment compared to $35,000 over 17 years. Also, it doesn't have to be a lifelong commitment. A sociologist Mary Wallace argued that these androids are leading fewer parents to have children at a time, and our birth rates are already far too low, contributing to what she terms as a baby doom. Jason Graff, director of Humanization at CyberLife, dismisses these claims and unusual resistance to new ideas, calling these new androids a triumph of humanization design. They had a reason to fight me. Maybe they just, it was too late and they just couldn't bother. They wanted to go home too. I don't blame them. Following President Warren's demand that all Russian troops withdraw from the Arctic immediately, President Ivanov of Russia has issued a response. Ivanov has branded Warren's comments as megaphone diplomacy, and the U.S. cyber battling is the #1 threat to stability in the region. The Kremlin produced a detailed statement outlining Russia's claims of territory, and Ivanov said he would remain President Warren's, that the United States is subject to the UN conventions, like everybody else. The conflict shows no sign of adapting. Politics, do I understand it? No. And that is okay. Okay, I'm actually gonna... Can I save in between? I hope so. There'd be a reason though. It's common for them to be like that for first time offenders and such. Oh yeah, they'll probably just give you a warning. No. Oh, can I not save? Actually, okay, you know what? It's fine because... Okay, we didn't get too far, luckily, so we can just carry it on next time. Yeah. Oh, actually, I'm going to take my controller out. Because I'm like, this could like take me another like half an hour. Okay.
Would you mind if I asked you a few
Oh,
questions?
okay.
Just to get to know you better.
Sure.
Who's your favorite character in Detroit?
Oh, I like Marcus.
Was there a moment in Detroit that resonated with you personally?
Yeah.
What was the toughest choice you faced in
Oh. Oh, is there more choices? Would you consider having a relationship with an android that looks like a human? Oh my gosh, some people said yes. Whoa! Over 50% said yes. That's crazy. Do you think technology would become effective and cried? Most people said yes. If you had to live in one desert island and could only bring one object, what would it be? I said pen and paper. Actually, a lot of people did pick pen and paper as well. Depending on technology. Yep, I think most people did as well. What technology do you anticipate? Androids. Brain connected devices was another popular one. And most people don't believe in God, which I do agree to. Would you let an android take care of your children? Don't know, no. Wow! 43% yes. More. Yeah, I do as well. I would, yes. And do you think one day machines could develop consciousness? Yes. What's your favourite character? Marcus. Most people said Connor. That's interesting. That moment Detroit resonated with once. Many no. Oh, I was actually a rare percentage saying once then. What was the toughest choice you faced in Detroit? And most people said being pacifist with Marcus. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Well, yeah, I think I might save where I left off too, but that's fine because at least I didn't like go too far, so I think that's okay. I think that's okay. Oh, hello. Oh my gosh, hello. If I could feel the burning in my throat, the shots of it tonight. Oh my gosh. Well, you're a little bit crazy. A little bit crazy guy. But that's okay because I'm too. But I hope you had lots of fun though. And please stay safe though. Because we don't want to be too silly. Vodka got the fur burning. Oh, but I love that feel. Like, you know, it's so fun. I love the way vodka feels. Does anybody else love that? I know I do. I think it's great. Don't know what this is about me though. Because, yeah, you know, it's hurting. I mean, it does hurt, but, you know, it's kind of like also exciting. And that's a cool feeling as well. Okay, I'm trying to find somebody who I want to annoy. Ooh. I think we're gonna wait. Who are? I think it's the second anniversary. Why do I look so weird here? Girl? There we go. I just put myself in a really awkward angle. Yeah, I believe it's their second anniversary. So we're gonna give them lots and lots of cheesy love. I really enjoyed oh my gosh, I can't spell. How do I spell? I really enjoy playing Detroit Become Human Again. I don't know. It's just I find it so fun, and I hope you guys like it too. I know it's a little bit different, but it's something I've been wanting to play again for a little while. So I will be completing it again on stream. So if you like that, then feel free to come back again, please. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But that's okay if you don't as well. Oh my god. If I had to throw a tactical one tonight, remember that I am way too far gone. Yes, but please make sure to drink some water too, guy. Please, please. We are all begging. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for being here tonight. I actually had so much fun, and I hope you had fun too. And yeah. And hopefully, I will see you guys next week, because have you guys noticed that I've got a new router? It came today, so it's really exciting, and I think so far so good, right? I'm still using my dad's SIM, but I will be getting a new SIM soon, so hopefully that will be good too. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, I will see you guys next week. If I don't see you next week, I hope you have a great weekend. Wishing you lots and lots of cheesy love, and I'll see you later. Bye bye. Night night. TDK, good night, guy. Thank you again for all lots of cheesy love.